got my trust issues, warning you stay away. If we meet at the rendezvous, take me away, sun and rain. Darling, I got my trust issues, warning you stay away. If we meet at the rendezvous, take me away, sun and rain.
你不用漂亮，虽然已经很漂亮，我随时准备好迎接这场较量。你不用聪明，虽然已经很聪明，在不一样的时间和你看一样的风景。你不用假装，其实你不用假装，在伊甸园里你演夏娃，我演亚当。你不用顾虑，其实你不用顾虑，让月亮代表我陪你在月光下面沐浴。You are my motivation, inner reason， 是上帝送给我最好的 present。Baby girl, you know my situation, no matter what happen, but you always be my best friend。你是钢琴上的36个黑键，你的出现填补旋律上的缺陷。你是张被我无限循环的老唱片，罐头有保质期的爱你没有上限。你问过5年之后我会变成什么样？可能你会看到我结婚的消息被放上新闻，可能我会有一个很爱我的老婆，可能我已经有了自己的小孩。不会变的是，我还是那个可以在人群中一眼就把你的笑容找到的 lover boy， 我还是那个可以陪你逃到小岛上一起找自己的 lover boy。 So what about you?
I'm missing you, my honey. Don't you? 我是一个被你变忧郁的小丑。Oh yeah， 每天都有情话，想不想听 ？Just tell me， 求求你给个回应，让我开心。I'm ready. Oh, I'm not a player， 但你总不相信，想把自己变帅，只为了衬托你。When you need a lover， 随时可以 call me。Just call me，Just call me。Oh, I'm not a player， 但你总不相信，想把自己变帅，只为了衬托你。When you need a lover， 随时可以 call me。Just call me，Just call me。我会像你说的那样，好好读书，你也好好画画，因为我觉得我们总有一天可以躺在一起，看同一部电影，听同一首歌曲，因为我永远都是你的 lover boy。
Os perturbados se prevalecem, enquanto atingidos adoecem. Palavras soltas que aborrecem, esperança depois de uma prece. Povo com crise de abstinência procura explicação pra existência no mundo onde dão mais valor pra aparência. Tem sua consequência. Negro, branco, rico, pobre, o sangue é da mesma cor. Somos todos iguais, sentimos calor, alegria e dor. Krishna, Buda, Jesus, Allah, Speed, Black, profetizou. Nosso Deus é um só, vários nomes pro mesmo criador. Pouco me importa a sua etnia, religião, crença, filosofia. Absorvendo sabedoria, desenvolvendo meu dia a dia. Nesse mundo poucas coisas são certas, amor só te mate, a vida que se leva do sul para o norte, da Ásia, América, Serra, humano, o erro te liberta. Seja o que tiver que ser, seja o que quiser ser, seja o que tiver que ser, seja o que quiser ser. Bate a poeira, bate a poeira, bate a poeira.
All right, hello everybody and welcome. Let me get some music started here. Relaxing Studio Ghibli music is on the docket for tonight because I'm pretty sure what we need for tonight is relaxing music. Yeah, it's a very weird night to be streaming, actually. Streaming the Office data visualization. Hopefully this will distract me for a couple hours. I have been at peak anxiety for the last like 48 hours, so I can hope that changes, but it looks like we won't know anything for a little while. So let's see, I think for anyone that doesn't know, maybe I'll give a little brief introduction to the project. So I'm streaming this project about The Office, the TV show, The American Office. So what we're going to make in the end is sort of a website, sort of where you can explore all this data that I've collected. It's going to be sort of a data visualization, fun, interactive website. The data I've collected is on all these like misquotes or botched phrases that Michael Scott says. So there's a running gag in the show where like he always messes up common idioms or like misquotes people. And I went through the show and watched it with a spreadsheet open and collected every example I could find, what I think he was trying to say, all that stuff. So there's a lot of good ones in here. There's a lot of real gems. So the idea is to make something where people can explore it, have fun, maybe look at some insights about it. There is some actual data involved, like there is some who wrote the episode, who directed the episode, you know, things like, did this trend get bigger or smaller as the episode went on, or as the seasons went on? And some of that we explored last time. So we did a stream last time on looking at the data involved. So for example, this is a scatter plot with a regression showing the number of misquotes in an episode versus the rating from IMDb for that episode. This basically told us there was like no relationship between these two things. But you know, we did some other things too. We looked at what are these plots? Let's see. This one is like the writers and episodes that contained misquotes, or like how many misquotes each writer wrote. So this is kind of interesting. Like this might be involved in somewhere in this process. And yeah, we looked at a couple of other things, like how many per season, how many per you know, episode, stuff like that. But what I want to do today is sort of start thinking about what we're going to show. So we sort of have a lot of data right now, but I want to think about like how we're going to present it. And that'll sort of help inform the data and what we're planning to do with it in the future. So I'm thinking that this is not necessarily like an in-depth design session where we're going to like make wireframes and do all that. This is more like a sketching sort of ideation process. And it's probably going to be a little bit of a back and forth with the data, because, you know, sometimes you sketch something out and you realize like, oh, this isn't going to work. You know, we need extra data here to make this interesting. Or, you know, oh, I really should go back and collect that. Or, oh, I'm going to need to like add this field to the data. So, you know, this is a good thing, even though I feel like we haven't completely finished with all the data. I think it's good to start this process early so that we can, you know, get any changes that we need to make to the data done before we start going too far into the project. All right, so I'm going to pull up QuickTime, and I have learned this trick from Shirley Wu. So Shirley, if anybody doesn't know, also streams data visualizations on Twitch. Definitely check out her channel. She's amazing, clearly. Yeah, she likes to sketch on her iPad as well. And I was watching her stream the other day, and I asked her, like, how do you mirror your iPad? And apparently, let's see, oh, I need to delete that. Apparently it's as easy as just opening QuickTime and saying like, new recording, and then, aha, here we are, wonderful. So this is what I was drawing before I started the stream, in order to promote the stream. So let me erase all of this. And this is going to be sort of a chill stream, I think. So if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Questions about data visualization, questions about what I'm doing, what I'm sketching. Let me know if the audio is off or anything. I think it should be okay, but you know, let me know if there's any issues. If you want to see me do anything, yeah, just let me know. Let me see if I can move my mic a little bit so that it's easier for me to see. Okay, hopefully you guys can still hear me. This is a lot easier for me to like see the iPad because I have it down on the table and microphone's gonna like hit my face if I don't do this, so yeah. All right, I have to remember to draw large enough as well. Yeah, this seems big enough. You guys can definitely see that, right? Okay. Ah, what was the Twitch channel I recommended? Yes. Let's look for Shirley Wu. Yeah, so this is Shirley, and she streams at SXY Wu. So that is her Twitch channel. Definitely check it out. You can see Shirley has like all kinds of streams, does tons of Dataviz, D3 design, all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, definitely check out Shirley's stream. Cool, Robert says stream sounds good, thank you. All right, so what I'm doing is kind of brainstorming. So what I want to think about first is like, what is the data that we have available? So let me actually show you guys this. I realized I minimized this. So the data we have available, so obviously we have like the most important thing, right? The misquote itself. Then we have the grammatical error type. And this needs work. So this is not complete yet. I really only started this. So we might do a little bit of work today to see if we can do some research, figure these out. I think I mentioned last time I might be looking for an expert to assist me with this. So if anybody happens to know like a grammar expert or somebody who's sort of into like psycholinguistics and grammar, please let me know because I am actively looking for someone to help me with this. And when I say grammatical error type, I mean like all these misquotes, right, that he's doing. You know, some of them are actually like a misquote, like he's quoting someone incorrectly. Some of them are like mispronunciations, and then some of them are actual grammatical errors that you can classify. Like there's a grammatical error called a malapropism, and that's occurring sometimes. There's another one called an eggcorn. And so I think I'll go through some of those later today, but that's what I mean. Oh my gosh, wow, that's so cool. So why June? Let's see, I hate trying to pronounce Twitch names, so I'm so sorry. But Twitch username Yjun Cho says they're a psycholinguistics PhD student. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. We should definitely talk. If you DM me on Twitter, if you know anything about this, maybe your research might be like completely different from this. Maybe you research like, I don't know, linguistical development in children or something, in which case ignore me. But maybe you know someone that could help me. So what I'm looking for is actually, let me just do a little bit of sketching here. So what I'm looking for is like people that know about these things. Eggcorn versus like malapropism versus mondegreen versus like, I don't know, other. I think another one, spoonerism. Yeah, spoonerism, that's another one. So these are all these weird different types of errors that you can have that all have very specific sort of meanings to them. And I need a lot of help with this, so yes, please get in touch. Okay, what else do we have? What other data do we have? Let's see, we have the, I mentioned we have like writer, We have director. I don't know how important that is. I don't think director is really important, but I'll put it down anyways because we have it. Let's see. We have obviously like the season and like episode, number, title, all that stuff. This is really all we have, right? Like it's not a ton of data. The main data is, you know, the misquote. Like this is the most important thing, because this is what people are really going to come to this for, you know. At the end of the day, I think this project is really going to be less about like hardcore data analysis and story, you know, like, oh, there's this regression or this statistic between these two things, and it's going to be more of like a visual history, just like an explorable. That's what I sort of have in mind, because in my mind, you know, like there's some stories here, but I think at the end of the day, like the number one thing that will attract people to this will be just like the visual history aspect of it. Oh my gosh, okay, that's so cool. Juncho says, wow, I believe one of my professors, Mark Lieberman, writes language log, coined the term eggcorn. Oh my god, really? Okay. Let me Google this. Please don't stop talking. I want you to keep talking. This is so interesting. Mark Lieberman. Oh, you're at UPenn. How cool. Okay, a fellow Philadelphian, yes. I am also in Philly. I used to work at UPenn as well. I used to work in the medical school for an epidemiologist. My partner is a postdoc at Penn. He's in genetics, also in the medical school. Oh my gosh, okay, thank you so much. I'm totally gonna get in touch with this person. And like I said, if you're on Twitter, DM me or something, or send me an email. I'd love to like chat a little bit about this. Maybe you can like introduce me or something. Yeah, formal models of linguistic annotation. This would be amazing. This is so cool. Okay, awesome. And Robert also had a chat. Robert says, maybe the one who he's talking to when he delivers the line. Ooh. Now that's really interesting. The reason I'm like hesitating, I'm like, ooh, is because that means I have to collect more data. That's really, really cool, Robert, though. In some cases, we don't have to collect more data. Who he's talking to when he delivers the line. Yeah, that I really like a lot. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to try to I'm gonna try to denote this with like an orange or something. God, I'm so bad. I haven't used Procreate in ages. How do I? Isn't there like a something on here that's like a highlighter, or should I just do like this and then just like turn the opacity way down? Maybe that's too down. Okay, no, that's too orange. I just want it to be like, this is so weird. Brush opacity should just make it, okay, there it is. Okay, that was a really long time for me to figure out how to highlight something. Maybe I should use that notes app. That's way easier than Procreate for just taking notes. But whatever, I'll keep using Procreate. Procreate's fun. Okay, I really like that idea, Robert. That's a really, really good idea, who he's talking to when he delivers the line. And it might not be a ton of extra data collection, because in a lot of cases, if he's talking, like, if someone else is involved in the conversation, then I actually did note that. I mean, it's not a lot of them that there's someone else involved, At least in a way that I thought I had to annotate it here. I guess most of these really are just Michael. But like there are a couple, and I'm looking for an example here, and I'm not finding one. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong column. That's why I'm not finding one. Yes, okay. Yeah, so like here he says to Pam, I noted that. Here he's like clearly talking to Pam. Yeah, here this one is like Kelly says something like, Michael, you can change a wheel, right? And he says, yeah, could someone hand me the lever? Same thing here is like Karen says something. So some of these do have like extra dialogue in them that's not Michael, in which case that's really easy. And I did mention last time that I am an Office superfan and I have some encyclopedic knowledge. So a lot of these I could probably just know from just knowing the episode by heart. And then the other ones that I have to go through, it might be easier because I don't have to like go back and find the file, or I don't have to go back and find the location in the episode because I did record video clips for all of these. So I have a folder somewhere in my computer where I have all these video clips. So maybe that'll be like, maybe that's like an easy thing that I can do at some point on a Saturday or something. Because that would be really cool. We'll see if it fits in anywhere when we're sketching. And if there's like a good spot where it would fit and it would be interesting, then I will definitely do it. All right, so what do I want to do now? I want to look a little bit at like what we're going to show, how we're going to show it. So I'm going to start sketching some ideas. And I have to be honest, this is going to be a little bit like TV magic, you know, where you like the chef on TV is like, oh, okay, and now this will go into the oven for an hour, and then it like cuts, and then they take it out of the oven. And it's like they didn't film for an hour, they just had one that was already made and they just pulled it out of the oven. So I have not like completely designed this yet, but I mean I have been thinking about this project for like the past 6 months, so you know, like I have an idea in my head of what I want. This is not completely fresh. I already kind of know what I want to do, but sketching it out is always really nice to like cement the idea and possibly figure out other stuff. So okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the main, I have to like silo all this off. I wrote this way too big. So now I have like no space left. I might have to start like another document or just like, I guess I can expand this one. Can I expand this somehow? Canvas, crop and resize. Oh, brilliant. That seems big enough. Okay, wonderful. Oh my god, can I show the iPad screen? Thank you. I'm going to keep forgetting that every time I click away from this. Thank you so much. Yes, I can absolutely show the iPad screen. Okay, I enlarged my canvas, so now I have more room to draw. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think of this, if anybody thinks this is a good idea. So I'm thinking the main, let's see, like, crap. There we go. Main visual. It's gonna be a timeline, right? So we're gonna have down here, this is gonna be like episode. So, you know, this is like episode 1, 2, 3, all the way to like, I don't know, whatever, you know, like this is like season 7, episode 20, or like whatever the last one is. Then each one is going to have the misquotes as an individual piece of paper. Because of course Dunder Mifflin is a paper company, you know, The Office is all about a paper company. So each one is going to be a piece of paper. And it's going to be like a histogram like this, like a dot histogram, where each one is like that. So maybe like the second episode, I think, I don't know, let's say there's like 2, and then the third episode, like there isn't any. But here's like 4, and let's say there's like, I don't know, maybe there's a lot in this episode. I'm just making this up. This is all fake. But that's what I'm thinking. Now, and we can probably add, you know, maybe we'll do something like in the background. We'll add like some, I'm just going to draw this as like a dotted line. Something like lines to mark season. And I also want to figure out a way to show like the average per season. Right? So like maybe at the top of this, it has like a number like, I don't know, 20 misquotes. So that people can see like how many per season. Or maybe up there, maybe it's like, you know, it just has like a strip of color at the bottom or something, or maybe there's some kind of like, pattern or something that shows like how much each season had. Then I think what I want to look at is each piece of paper. So I'm going to attempt to draw a piece of paper. And let's see, how do you draw a piece of paper? That looks like a piece of paper, more or less. So I'm thinking each one of these will have the quote, like I want it to be big enough so that you can sort of already view the quote by just glancing at it, like without necessarily clicking on the piece of paper, or at least see part of it. Because like there's some quotes that are obviously way too long and they're not going to fit on like a small little square like that. But I want it to be like, you know, there's like a preview. And what I'm going to do is say, like, I wonder if I just switch brushes, this will remember the one that I had last time, right? Okay, it remembers the size. It doesn't remember the color. So I'm marking this in red because this is like a to-do. You know, we probably have to go into the data and like make up this preview. So right now the quotes are all very long, but if we can come up with like if we can either like figure out how much text fits in there and then come up with like a, I don't know, 3 to 4 word summary of the quote, or like, that would be nice. I might also put this off and kind of just wait. Oh, cool, thanks. I also don't know how to pronounce your Twitch name, but let's say SGSWYV says they like it. Thank you. So yeah, so one option of how to do this is like this preview of the quote is like we go into the data and we say like for each quote we make another column which is like preview, and it's like 4 words or 5 words or however much fits. Oh, good notes for iPad. It has highlighters and special brushes. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I should probably use something simpler because Procreate is wonderful for drawing and illustration, but that's not really what I'm doing. So there's probably a better note-taking app. So good notes, I will try that. Thank you. So the other option, besides making another column, the other option is it might be possible to just do this with code. So, you know, with code, you could just say like, whatever will fit. So, you know, it would just be like, take the first X number of words or however much fits in that box, however big that box is based on like the screen size or whatever. And then, you know, once you run out of room, just be like ... Oh, okay, thank you. You are Sophie. Welcome, Sophie. Very glad to have you. So I think there's a way in like, I think there's a way with like CSS or HTML. I think like even without JavaScript. I mean, you could obviously do it with JavaScript, but I think there's a way even without JavaScript to get that like as soon as it exceeds the size of the container, it'll just go to like ... So I don't know how well that'll work, because a lot of these, like the quote comes at the end. And you know, like maybe I want to put the most recognizable words on there so that people know, you know, like when they see it, they immediately know what it is. Because the truth is, like, what people are going to do with this is, you know, there's going to be a bunch of data, someone's going to come to it, and they're just going to start scrolling, and they're going to scan, and they're going to like quickly scan across this and look for like whatever their favorite example is. You know, so like there's a lot of famous examples of these misquotes, so people are going to look through and like look for their famous example, and then that's going to make them happy. So maybe I want to make it something really recognizable, and so we'll just do it by hand. Robert says text overflow ellipses. Thank you. I knew there was a way to do it. Yeah, text overflow ellipses. Very, very cool. CSS is really nice. I wish I was better at CSS. You guys will get to see how bad I am at CSS when I actually start making this. But yeah. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. So this is the main visual. Now, what happens is, so on a click. So if you click one of these, oh my God, hi Maya. Maya is in the chat. Maya is super cool. Maya's a friend of mine. She's an amazing developer, makes all kinds of cool stuff with R, with JavaScript. She was an intern at RStudio. Definitely go follow her on Twitter, Maya Gans. Check her out. Really happy to have Maya here. So what I want to do is, like, when you click on one of these little small things, I will keep the compliments coming. When you click on one of these little small things, it's going to open a modal, right? So that we can have all the information. So open modal. And the information in this modal. I don't know what the layout is going to be. Again, this isn't like a wireframing session, so like whatever I draw here might just be sloppy, but that doesn't matter. The point is the information. So we have episode title, and then we have like season 3, episode 4, right? Give people an idea of what they're looking at. And then we'll have like written by so-and-so, and you know, directed by so-and-so. Oh, I also forgot, we have another data point. We have IMDb rating. Yes, very cool. Maybe we'll put the rating in here. I don't know. We'll see. So maybe we'll put like IMDb rating. There's a lot of stuff we could put. I'm gonna probably go overboard right now, and then we can, you know, pare it down later if we decide it's not that interesting. And then we will have the full quote. So there'll be like, you know, it'll be down here, and we'll have like what he said. Oh yeah, error type. That's very important. So this will be like, you know, eggcorn. So this will be what he said, and this will be like what he meant. So in some cases, I don't know exactly what to call this. I don't know exactly what to call that, what he meant. In some cases, this is going to be like, you know, he should have said this. Like, this is the correct way to say this. In other cases, it's more like, this is the error he made, like pointing out why this is wrong. So I don't know what I'll call that. And you know, these parts, like at least this part, the what he said, this is going to be probably written out like dialogue, right? So this is going to be like, you know, like you would write a screenplay, because if Michael, like most of them might just be like Michael, and it might just be like to Office, you know, or like to Bullpen, or like during Talking Head or something. But sometimes if he's talking to other people and they're having a back and forth conversation, and if the dialogue has multiple people, it'll be like Michael this, Kelly that, you know. So keep that in mind. Yeah, and then let's see. So the UX for this, maybe I didn't explain this, but so this is like horizontal. That's not horizontal. So this is horizontal scroll. So, you know, the user is going to scroll normally, like with their scroll wheel, and then the website's going to move horizontally. So, what that means is, like, this might be the viewport, and the content will move that way as people scroll. Because as we learned when we were doing the data analysis, you know, if you make a timeline like this, like just a histogram with dots and stuff, it's going to be way, way, way too long. It's never going to fit on anyone's screen. So unless somebody has one of those, like, you know, 5 feet wide monitors, they'll never be able to see the whole thing. So the horizontal scroll is definitely the way to put that. I don't know if you guys can hear in the background. This is like the worst place to stream in the world. I live in a loft, and the, you know, like I live in Center City, Philly in an apartment. So currently the people downstairs from us are repeatedly setting off their fire alarm. They constantly burn their food. And across the street from us, there is a music school. So someone is practicing their drumming over there. And in this little tiny echoey apartment, you can hear all the drumming and the fire alarms, and also probably all the cars on the street. Okay, what else do we need to do? I think I want to make. I'm gonna resize this again. I need more space. So I like this so far. I think I want to zoom out a little bit. I think I want to zoom out. Come on. And think about like the intro and like the other stuff a little bit. Am I going to embed the videos, or could I? Oh, very good point. Very good point. Yeah. So let's think about that a little bit. Let's actually think about that. I think I should. Like, I think it's a good idea to do that. I had a couple of different plans. One of those plans was to make a supercut of all the clips and then put it at the end. And like, I'll definitely do that. Like 100% I'll do that, because that'll be a big selling point for the project. You know, like if somebody's short on time and they just want to laugh, they can just like skip to the end and just like watch the super clip or the super cut and see all of them, and, you know, haha. But I think it's a good. Are you going to timestamp them? Oh, they're all timestamped. And I probably should timestamp them. Like in here is what you mean, in the modal I guess that's what you're assuming, Maya, because yeah, they definitely, like, the data has the timestamps, so that is true. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. I think both of you are right. I think Maya and Robert are both right. I think we need to adjust this modal a little bit to include both of those things. So I don't know. Yeah, this is sloppy. This is not the layout of the modal. Whoops. But somewhere there's like the time code. And then video clip. Yeah, I think it'll sort of depend, like the video clip. I think I'll need to think a lot about the layout, but the video clip should definitely be in there because anybody that doesn't watch The Office is going to be really confused, especially just looking at the dialogue. You know, like that'll be really confusing. So the video clip will definitely give a lot of much needed context to people. Even people that watch the show but are not, you know, like obsessive viewers. And also because a lot of these examples were never before recorded. So even like, you know, I scoured the internet for examples of all of these, like Reddit, subreddit about The Office, you know, like all these fan sites and stuff, the fan wiki. And, you know, they only had like 50 and I ended up with 200. So I think even for fans, there's going to be a lot of them that they never recognized. And the video clips will help a lot with that. That's a really good idea. And let's see, Maya also says, could be cool, like a little progress bar at the bottom showing how far into the episode or something. That is interesting. Yeah, there's a couple ways we could do that. Do you mean, and also it's not unsolicited. I openly solicit advice. This is what I want. In fact, I think I should do every project on stream now because I've already gotten like so much good advice for this project. But yeah, so okay, so Maya, tell me what you mean though. There's a couple ways we could do this. Like here it could be like you know, it's like a progress bar down here and the clip is like here and then it's like or something, like some weird little, I don't know, connector thing that like shows what happened. The other thing we could do is show when they occurred in the episode here. Like it could be like 4 and then this is like the, you know, start and then this is like the end and the quotes like 1 2 3 4 5 happen like, you know, here, 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 whatever. I don't know. I think this is like, I think this start end thing is like not worth the space it would take up. It's probably also not what you meant. Like I'm pretty sure you meant put it near the video. I just kind of thought of this, like your thing sparked this idea for me. But yeah, I think this start end thing is like, yeah, you meant the first one. It'd be fun to see the data visually rather than report in the modal as season 1 episode 4. Yeah, good point. It would be fun to see it visually. And I mean, there could be both, right? Because it could be like, you know, like this thing here, it can be like, I don't know, like 3:14. You know, it can say when it is and also show it visually. Yeah, I think this idea about this start and end thing down here is like interesting, but not worth the space that it'll take up because it's basically just duplicating the chart on top, but with like a time dimension. And you know, like I want to preserve vertical space anyways, probably, because the more vertical space I have, the larger I can make these little paper previews, and then the more words I can get onto them. So, interesting ideas. But yeah, definitely the video clip needs to be included. And the time code. Okay. Because if I include the time code, then people can go search for them themselves if they really want to get into it. If some other super fan visits and they want to check all my work, ugh, God forbid, they can go in and do that. Actually, I said God forbid jokingly, but part of this is probably going to be that I will include a link to like a Google, like a submission form, like if people want to submit misquotes that I missed, because like I did most of this manually, and I'm sure I missed a lot of them. Like a lot of these are really subtle pop culture references and things. I'm sure I missed a ton. So what I'm hoping, in my like delusional imagination, where this project like goes viral and ends up all over the internet, then people could submit ones that I missed, and I could like community survey update it. In reality, I don't think anyone will ever do that, because I doubt this project will be that popular, and also I'm pretty sure I care about this more than anyone else at this point. I don't know if maybe there's some other fan out there that's as crazy as I am, but anyways, let's keep going with the sketch. Okay, so this is the main visual, but what I want to sketch a little bit is the like intro, like what are we going to do for other stuff, because there could be other stuff as well. So I'm going to call this the hero. So anyone that's not familiar with web design, usually a hero is like the landing page, like what you first see on the page. It might have like a big image with some text and the title and stuff like that. Yeah, I have a few ideas for the hero, and this will be more fleshed out when we do the actual design. But obviously it'll say something, like the title. And I don't know what the title actually is. This is my working title. I don't know if we'll end up calling it that, but we'll see. So obviously the title will be on here. There might be like a little deck paragraph. Has a little like intro of the project or something like that. And then there's a few other ideas. So the question is like, what is the visual portion of the hero? And I have an idea that is potentially more interesting, but also probably a lot harder to code. And then an idea that's kind of like, like it's fine, but it's not like mind blowing. Let's just go with the fun one for now. The boring idea is just to put like some random kind of like cutouts of people, like sketches of people from the office, or like Michael with like, word bubbles, like cartoon word bubbles, like saying some of the quotes, or like some of the highlights and little like collage, like pasted type things. Not really a collage, but like a scrapbook. That's what I mean, like a scrapbook. Like you have little cutouts of things and little like stars and stuff and office paraphernalia posted all around. But I think there's a more interesting, potentially more interesting thing. Maybe it won't work visually, but I was thinking, okay, so we have all these little papers, right? All these little things are going to be papers. So what if, as you come to the page, it's sort of empty, or maybe there's like a few papers, and then like they start like animating in, like they're being pasted or posted on there. Or even like I drew this one kind of like, like files stacking up on a computer. And like these would keep animating in, so they would be like on a ticker, like psh, 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 they each come in as you like leave the page open. And then there'll be a little indicator like scroll. And then you have the timeline, right? So this is our timeline. And as you scroll, all the papers fly onto the timeline. So you get like stuff like this, and these go like whoosh, whoosh. You know, so this is like some keyframes of this. So basically all these papers from the front hero page, as you scroll, it would trigger an animation where they all fly onto the timeline and arrange themselves as they should be arranged. There's a couple of potential issues with that idea. Concerns. Sometimes I like to just think about why it might not work. So concerns. Performance, that's number one. So I mentioned there's like 200 of these quotes. You know, animating 200, and these are either going to be, they could be SVGs, but I wanted them to be divs. I wanted them to be HTML elements. So, you know, animating 200 divs is like doable. Depends on your computer performance. I do always like to think about like people that don't have super fast computers or are working on a laptop or something. But I think it'll just be a kind of a test. Like, let's see how the performance works. But, you know, like animating 200 things flying around all at once is something that's going to be like a big initial load on the performance. So we might have to just optimize it a little bit. What about the ones, so like, the ones that like don't show up yet? So I mentioned the idea is that like on the hero here, there would be all of these papers like animating in like one by one. But you know, like probably people are going to start scrolling before all of them show up. They're not going to show up that fast, I think. Otherwise it'd be kind of crazy. Maybe they could. So then what happens if you like scroll and not all of them have showed up yet? Probably we just have to do something like, you know, when they show up, it's just a change in opacity and like secretly they were there the whole time. So then we can just like immediately make them all, you know, appear and fly around. That's probably the solution to that one, but and then, you know, like a realistic concern is like effort versus reward. This, you know, this is a non-insignificant thing to code. I mean, I don't know, it might end up being relatively simple, but anytime you're coding some, you know, big kind of animation, you know, all these things popping up on a timer and then animating, and you have to think about all the possible like edge cases and stuff, you know, you're going to put like a non-insignificant amount of effort into coding that. And is it worth the reward that you're going to get? So that's always something to think about. And that depends on a lot of things, you know, the project scope, how much time I've budgeted for it. But I do like to be realistic about things. So, okay. So what else? So then we have, so the main visual, that's this thing. And then what about the end? What happens at the end? So I had a few ideas. Let's sketch some different possible ideas. I'm gonna call this the outro. So at its most basic, this could just be, you know, some wrap-up text. The supercut. That's the video. And then, you know, like about methods, like socials, like sharing buttons and stuff like that. Whatever we want to do to promote ourselves down here. So that's like that's the basic, and like that's what I don't know what I'm gonna go with yet, but that's sort of the basic, and that's what I would default to. But there is some more interesting things that we could do. I just don't know if they're worth doing depending on how interesting the data is. So the first thing is really the only thing. I don't know why I say the first thing. Is that this would become like a later thing, you know, like about and stuff later. And then here, instead, what we have is, as you scroll past this, all of these fly to here. So papers animate to outro. And in here we have like some sort of selector, and it's like writer, season, said line to, you know, ... And what's going to happen is there would be like all these papers would arrange into groups based on that. So, you know, this is Mindy Kaling. That's a writer. So let's pretend we're doing by writer. This is Greg Daniels. And this is BJ Novak. And these could be, I guess, I sort of drew them haphazardly, thinking they would be like cluster charts, you know, just like bubble charts, but actually they're rectangles, so they should just be waffle charts. So this is like arrange by waffle chart. That might be an interesting idea. The question is like, you know, are these things actually that different to be interesting? Like, does anyone care if Mindy Kaling wrote 10 more than BJ Novak? Oh, the other one is error type. That actually might be interesting. Error type. That actually could be cool. I don't know. What do you guys think? Another factor in this is how much enthusiasm is there for it. Does anybody think it's cool when I propose it or when I'm building it? Here's what we got so far. So let's say we do like the most complex scenario. What we have is a hero where people pop up and then you scroll, it all goes to the timeline. That's the main thing. There's modals, and then you get to the outro, everything animates over here, and you can explore like how many of them there were by writer, by error type, and such like that. Hello Near This says it would depend on the size of the books if one wrote more. Yeah, so that's sort of like what we did last time, right? So like what we did last time was kind of exploring some of these basic statistics questions, like who wrote more, and like was it that big of a difference? So, you know, like there was a pretty big difference in like the top writers versus the bottom writers. Now, last time we discussed that like some of that has to do with the fact that these people just wrote more episodes than these people. Yeah, Robert says he's definitely in favor of error type. I think a lot of people will, like myself, not know what all the errors mean, and a viz by error type would be a good place to include official definitions. Yes, definitely. So there's also another thing. That reminds me, Robert. There's another thing. So this is like the basic, right? This is at the bare minimum, you know, we'll have like an intro with something, the main visual, and the outro. Now, maybe this is a good time to sort of like sketch out other random, other random ideas, because I can definitely see a world in which there's more added to this. What about combining error type and writer? I never thought about that. Yeah, that was Sophie. Sophie says, what about combining error type and writer? Yeah, I don't know if there would be enough to make it like interesting is the only concern that I have. Because, you know, like if you look at like how many there are by writer, like the most any writer has is like 30, and most of them have between like 10 and 15. And then if you break that down even further with the error type, which there's going to be like at least 5 or 6 error types, then it's like, you know, maybe some writers have like 1 of this and 1 of that and 0 of this. But it's worth trying. I think like when we have all the error type data filled in, you know, I couldn't make this chart for error type data because, like I said, I'm still looking for someone to help me with this, so you can see that like most of these are empty. The only ones I could fill in, I could only fill in, I don't know, like 30% of these. So once I get that data, I might go back into R and just kind of see, like, make this chart but for error type, and maybe combine it with writer and see what happens, see what it looks like. But yeah, so to Robert's point, I think Robert brought up that like a lot of people don't know what these errors mean. I had no idea what they meant before I researched them. I still don't really know what they mean that well. Like I'm still looking for help understanding them. So there's another option here besides just going straight into the content. And that's making it more of a story that focuses on the error type. In which case you would have something more like this. So we have our hero, blah, blah, you know, maybe it has some stuff, papers, whatever. And then you go into a few pages, or, you know, like, I don't know how many pages, but depending on your viewport size, how much content there is, you go into a couple of explainer pages. So this is going to be like, you know, some text, like talking about what this project is. It's going to say, you know, people make these types of errors. You know, people make errors when they speak. They botch common phrases. You know, for example, and it's, you know, going to have like a bust of Michael here, and he's going to have a little balloon, and he's going to say some error. And then, you know, it'll go to something else, and it'll say like error, and maybe we'll have like a flow diagram. You know, we'll have like because some of these errors you can actually relate like this, where you have like acorn, malapropism, and then, you know, this has something like that. Or it's like a set diagram, you know, like a Venn diagram of like what these errors mean. And then there's some more text explaining like the psycholinguistics behind it that might be interesting. So let's take some notes on what this is doing. So this is telling people what each error means. So like defining them. Some of the psychology or like the science behind it, because there is some interesting, like, I think there is some interesting stuff. Like, I haven't read a ton, but I've read a little bit about like why do people make these errors, you know, like why is it so common that people will like mix up two words in this particular way, which makes it an acorn or makes it a malapropism, and like what psychologically makes us do that. So, and you know, the other purpose of this is just to introduce the project, like I said. So, yeah. And then from here, we'd go into the main visual and then outro in whatever way we decide to do it. And, you know, I think sort of how we do the hero and how we do the outro might depend on which one of these routes we end up taking. Because if we take this first route, I think that it sort of goes better with the idea of like all these papers popping up and like flying onto the timeline and flying onto the thing and sort of having this animation that carries it throughout. Whereas if we were to go with the second one, which is more of an explainer, or it includes an explainer component, like a more of a visual story component, then in that case, I don't know if the whole papers animation thing would work as well, because unless we somehow brought them into this explainer section, unless we somehow like brought the papers into this section, which I don't know how we would do naturally, it would break the flow. So, you know, like they wouldn't go straight from here and you're following them through the whole thing, which is really the point of the animation, is like you're following them through the whole thing. And this would really break up the flow, which I think would sort of reduce the impact of that animation. So in this case, we might just go with the simpler hero and a simpler outro. Although we could still have the papers, we could still do this for the outro, because that would be a nice transition at the end to have those charts, those little waffle charts. But yeah, I think whether we do an explainer will depend. I'm going to do a little bit of brainstorming with some friends on this project and see what people think. And some of it will also depend on what I learn about these errors after I talk to somebody who actually knows what they're doing. So I'm really hoping to get that, talk to an expert, do some research, and learn what some of these are. Yeah. Let's do a quick, real quick, let's do a sketch of the mobile. So the desktop I mentioned is all horizontal scroll. Obviously that's not going to work on the mobile unless we, I don't know, it might work if we make people rotate their phones. You know, you rotate your phone to landscape mode and then you swipe along the landscape mode. I don't know. I don't know if that would, I have no idea if that would be less work or more work because for us, I'm thinking of work at this point because like honestly, I don't know if we will make a mobile version. You know, this is right now. This is a personal project, and usually, I mean, it depends, but like in general, doing mobile is sort of a chore, and so if somebody's not paying me to do it, I'm probably not gonna make mobile unless there's a really compelling reason to do so. But it is interesting. It's an interesting exercise to think about what it would be. So let's sketch both options. Okay, so I mean, option one is really done. Like, option one is just same layout as desktop, but phone is in landscape. So, you know, here's your phone. That's too wide for a phone. Okay, so here's your phone. And you go to the phone and it says, please turn me. And then hopefully your user knows how to turn your phone. The reason I have no idea how much work this is because I've never done it before. So I don't know anything about the mobile API with like how you detect when the phone is in landscape mode versus vertical. Phone and landscape turned out well. Oh yeah, and you can let CSS Grid do it all. Yeah, maybe actually. I mean, honestly, it's possible with some media queries. It's possible. The other option, and so this would just work, and we'd have to make a few little adjustments, you know, for the mobile, like the performance maybe would be worse on mobile. I don't know how the animations would work. The modal, it'll have to have a different layout probably. But, you know, like by and large, the overall layout would stay the same in this scenario. Now, option two is vertical layout. So in a vertical layout, we just have you know, the hero. So it has our stuff, it has our content, blah blah blah. And then the main visual will be vertical instead of horizontal. So we'll have a timeline. And it'll be like, you know, episode 1, 2, 3, 4. And these papers will be like this. I don't... I honestly don't know how well this vertical thing would work. Because like the vertical space you have, or the space you have then for the papers is going to be pretty squished. And also the issue is, whoops, here. On the thing, I wanted to be able to put like, so like, is there room for titles? You know, because nobody knows like nobody's gonna know like, oh yeah, season 4, episode 13. Oh yeah, that was this episode. Like most people aren't gonna know that. So you also, in addition to like, you know, ideally the labels would be an episode title. But, you know, again, the space becomes an issue. So how long is an episode title and how well does it fit in that space? Oh, so hello near this says window.add event listener, device orientation, handle orientation true. Looks easy to manage orientation. Oh, very cool. Okay, that's nice to know. So yeah, I guess JavaScript just has an easy way to do this. Yeah, no hover options. Yeah, mobile doesn't have hover, right? So it's a lot. It's not easy to do hover stuff on mobile. So, like modals could still open if you click on the thing, or tap on the thing. But any information we would have had in a hover, or like animations if you had on a hover, like aren't going to be there. How is it going to be easy for people to know that they can click on this stuff? These are all things we would have to consider. I don't know. I kind of like the landscape option if it turns out that it's just like easy to do and it all works. I don't know about like, again, you have to do touch. I don't know if you have to do gestures. So like, is it just automatically it knows that like swiping equals scrolling if it's in landscape mode, like horizontal scrolling if it's in landscape mode, or do you have to, like also figure out a solution for that? But again, I'm not going to put too much worry into these right now because this will probably be something we think about a little bit later. So, yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, I think this was really good. This was a fun design session. So I think a few things we need to do are... I'm gonna look into the feasibility of, I think it was Robert who suggested who he's talking to as a possible data option. I think I'm gonna look into that and actually consider doing that. I'm gonna try to get that expert on the data, on the error type. We definitely need that. And the preview of the quote. I think it is important to do that by hand, actually. Like the more that I think of it, the more I think it's important to do that by hand, because a lot of them just won't make sense if you just do the first few words, and it'll kind of look weird. It'll just be like weird intro text. So I think I'm going to try to do that by hand. I won't subject you guys to that on stream. I won't make you like watch me go through the data and painstakingly decide on every single one what the 2-word description of it's going to be. But yeah, I think this looks nice in terms of ideas. So stuff we have to decide still is which of these are we going to go with? Are we going to go with the explainer version, or are we going to go with like the just kind of jump right in version? And there's probably something in between. Like if we go with the jump right in version, it's not just going to be like we never define any of the terms. Like there'll be a little, something up here that's like about, or like definitions, and you can open it up and it'll have all the information you'd need. Maybe that's the way to go, sort of combine these two things. And then, yeah, we just talked about the mobile. Yeah. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be turning off the stream soon too, so thanks for stopping by, Oobidoo. Enjoy whatever you're gonna go do. Maya says, thanks for inviting us into your brain. Yes, this is my complete like brain dump, my complete brain fart on the screen. As you can see, I'm not the best illustrator. But yeah, thanks for stopping by, everybody. I think this was really enjoyable. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do next time. I'm sort of scheduling things, so it will either be that I have more discussions of the data and what these terms mean, or I will have some friends on and we'll be brainstorming and jumping into like visual inspiration. So like what is the look going to be, the typographies, the colors, the layout, like actually wireframing and doing stuff in Figma. I do have some friends that are going to come on stream and help me with that, so definitely stay tuned. I will put it on Twitter. It's going to be really good. We're going to have some really, really cool designers and Dataviz people joining us to figure out what this is actually going to look like. But yeah, thanks so much, everybody. I will be doing the stream next week at the same time. So it's going to be Thursday, 6 p.m. next week. Definitely stop by and see where we go next. All right. Bye-bye.